So the Kyle Rittenhouse case, the verdict is coming out pretty soon, and the National Guard has been deployed. There's expectation that a good chance that he's gonna get off on the murder charges. They're considering lesser charges right now, but ultimately, it's looking like he's not gonna really get the book thrown at him like a significant chunk of the population probably wants. And more importantly, the results are not going to be what a very tiny group of people who are local, who will be local, it's not going to be what they want. It's going to be seen as a race thing. It's going to be, this white kid goes and kills these people and he gets off yet again. We have a justice system that doesn't treat people fairly based on skin color. And I can tell you, as a person who has, personally, in my view, and I'm the last person to pull the race card, just for context, I personally believe that I've seen the racialization of our courts. I ended up in a courthouse in a very small town. I'm very, very uncomfortable with small towns in this country because I realize that in this country, unfortunately, we have some really disgusting people that live in some of these small towns. And it's not about the small towns themselves. It's just that that's where sometimes you find some people that are really, really backwards, unfortunately. You could meet some really nice, friendly people, or you could end up in the wrong neighborhood. And then if you end up in a very corrupt area, what happens is the judge knows the cop, and the cop, like, everybody knows each other. Like, that's the kind of environment that you got to be careful of. And I think I got involved in that situation where didn't quite get the book thrown at me, but I don't think I got treated fairly. And I believe my skin color and my success might have worked against me. So I'm well aware that skin color does matter in this country, and I've definitely seen cases where I believe that if the skin color was different, the results might have been different. However, I also very strongly believe that the media loves to amplify this reality, right? It is a thing, but the media knows it's a profitable narrative, so they'll make it be a thing even when it's not a thing. Case in point, they will look at this case and make it be all about race when I don't think it's all about race. Certainly, race is somewhat of a factor because I can't imagine. Here's the reality. I think if Kyle Rittenhouse looked like me, I think potentially, not for sure, potentially, he might not have gotten a fair trial. However, I think he's possibly going to get a fair trial, depending on how shielded from our toxic media the jury is, because they certainly can be influenced by our toxic media and therefore can end up ruling based on the nonsense that we see in the media. But outside of that, I think he's going to get a fair trial. So I guess in some ways, maybe perhaps it's not inaccurate to suggest that it is about race in a way that, would someone looking like me have gotten the results that he's possibly about to get. Now, I wouldn't feel too optimistic. I would not want to be him with my skin color in this case. I'll tell you that. However, that's irrelevant, right? The focus should be on what's happening with this case, not what might happen in a theoretical case. The fact that there's race issues in the courts, yes, that's something to be addressed and dealt with, but not in this case where I don't see anything racist happening, right? I'll end on this. Any buildings that get burnt down, anyone that gets injured, worst case scenario, anyone else that dies, I put a lot of responsibility on the Young Turks, David Pakman, Vosh, Brian Tyler Cohen, and also indirectly Fox News, Tim Pool, Blaze TV, Shapiro, Crowder, because it takes two to tango. One of the reasons why there's so much hate and violence and anger is because of the division. The right-wing media keeps people on the right in a bubble, demonizing the other side. Left-wing media does the same thing in reverse. The two go together. It's like gasoline and a flame, right? So you could look at the right and say they're just gasoline. There's nothing wrong with gasoline. Gasoline is fine. But when you're throwing gasoline at a fire, right? It's not the gasoline is the problem, but there's fire over there, and all you're doing is just throwing your gasoline. Yes, gasoline in a bubble is fine, but you're not in a bubble, right? The things that Shapiro and Blaze TV that they're doing, it's not in a vacuum. The people watching that content and getting outraged and, oh, the left and the liberals or whatever, those people are going to react in certain ways and do certain things that can clash with people who are watching partisan left-wing media. People watching partisan left-wing media telling them that all of them are racist, you guys are racist, and then you're watching Ben Shapiro getting you all wound up, and then you go and you say something or do something that makes it, you're sort of validating what left-wing media is saying, making someone who's already, been watching the Young Turks and they already have this idea that you're racist, and then you say something that kind of sounds racist. And why are you saying that? Because you're watching Ben Shapiro getting you all angry about these liberals or whatever, right? And then there's the clash. You son of a gun racist, and then there's a fight, and then somebody dies. Both sides have a lot of responsibility for the violence and destruction that's happened in this country. It's not a left-wing thing. It's not a right-wing thing. It's a toxic American media thing, right? Two to tango. But the left takes the lead on what's happening with the Rittenhouse case. And again, anyone else that gets hurt, any property gets burnt down, any violence that happens as a result of the verdict. Young Turks, Anna Kasparian, Vosh, David Pakman, CNN, MSNBC. I put the responsibility on every single one of you guys. Your words have consequences. You are talking to millions of people. You're playing around with their emotions for profit. And people get hurt as a result. There needs to be accountability for this. You can't continue using the American people as pawns for profit. It's time for a media revolution. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Good luck, Kenosha.